Hi everyone, so this is part 6, starting flowers from seed. I'll give you an update on what I've already started. I'll take you out, show you the grow area. Everything's coming along good. We're going into the first week of April. So the other day I was out, happened to go into that big orange hardware store, and right as I go in the entrance, there they are, the seed display. So I couldn't help myself. I went looking, started looking. So I picked up 2 new varieties of flowers. They're both zinnias. One is called Burpee's Big Tetra Mixed Colors. Both these variety of zinnias, they'll grow to be about 30 inches tall. So there's the one. That's the Big Tetra Mixed Colors, and the other is Zinnia Giant Flowered Mixed Colors. So I really like zinnias. I like to plant height in my garden so that I have flowers that are tall, and I plant them in the back in the garden, and then the ones that are shorter in height I plant them up in the front, and it just gives the garden some depth. So I had some tinfoil trays laying around, so I'm going to use them for these zinnias to get them started. So I'm just going to start this video out just planting these zinnia seeds, and I'll set these out in the grow area. So I also have dahlias, and I store them up in my attic area because it's a nice cool space up there. And I have 2 varieties of dahlias that I'd like to try to propagate, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. But I brought them down from the attic today. I haven't opened the box yet. I'll show you how I have them packed away for the winter. And these 2 varieties of dahlias that I want to try and propagate. When I stored my dahlias for just want to make sure I'm putting them in the right container. When I stored my dahlias for the winter, I put those 2 on top because I knew I wanted to try and propagate them going into spring this year. So I'm hoping to get maybe 2 or 3 extra plants out of the dahlias, maybe 1 or 2 for myself, and I have someone that is buying a house in the spring this year, and as a gift I wanted to give them these 2 particular dahlias. The one dahlia is called OMG, which I guess stands for Oh My God, and it is a beautiful flower, and I know why it's called OMG. And it was not a cheap one. I think I paid $35 for it, so I'd like to try and propagate it. So anyway, alright, so there's our Big Tetra and Giant Flower Mix zinnias. Let me water these in, and then we'll cover them with some seed starting mix. Okay, I'll take these out, set these out in the grow area, and then I'm going to show you my dahlias. So I store the dahlias in peat moss, and I put them in my attic for the winter after I dig them up. This is where I find out if they made it through the winter or not. With these top ones are the two that I want. Now I put them in plastic bags and along with some peat moss. So these two top ones here should be what I'm looking for. I'll set them over here on the workbench. So these held up nice over the winter, at least this one did. I think. Right, this one's called Irish Glow. And this one here in the big bag is the OMG. Both of these will grow up to 48 inches tall. This is starting to get some sprouts on it. It's a good sign they lasted the winter. There's my tag. We put the rest of this peat moss back in the box. So to start these indoors and try to propagate them and get a couple more plants out of these, I picked up some, these are like Rubbermaid containers. So I'll fill these with dirt and we'll put these in there and I'll set them out there in a grow area, and when we get some sprouts that are like 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches, we'll snip them off and we'll try and root them. So let me fill this with the seed starting mix. And I'm just going to place the tubers down in the dirt here. And these two tubers fell off. This one here has a little shoot off of it, so we may get a plant out of this. And this one here is rotted, so I'm just going to throw this one away. Set this in here. some water on them. Water this in. Okay, now I'll move this one out into the grow area. So I'll do the same with this Irish Glow Dahlia, and I'll just take this tag that was in the bag during the winter storage and we'll stick it in there, and I know that this one is the OMG. Now I'm going to set these dahlias on heat mats to try and force growth. The dahlias really won't start growing until it warms up, so by putting them on the heat mat, hopefully they'll sprout up relatively fast. I'll take my tag that was in the bag while they were in storage, and we'll stick it in the seed starting mix, and that's it for the Irish Glow. So we'll set these both out on heat mats in the grow area, and I'll take you out to the grow area and show you the progress. We're going into the second week of April now. I have really good progress with everything that I started, and probably in 2 weeks we'll transplant what we started in the flats into individual cells. So let me take you out to the grow area. So here's everything in what I refer to as the grow area, which is basically my dining room. So this is, we're going into the first week of April. And up there on the top right are my tomato plants, or tomato big boys. The middle one, sweet peppers, and then the Vinca Cascade. And you can see how well everything is doing. These two bottom left are the portulacas, the moss rose, and they've been very, very slow to grow, but they are starting to pop up. And of course I have some weeds in there, but the very tiny plants that you see with the purple stems on them are the portulaca. And then down at the bottom here we have the Easy Wave Petunia. We have the vinca, the tattoo blueberry in the middle, and down all the way to the left are zinnias. They're the senoras. In the middle we have some more vinca cascade. In the center, the coleos, the chocolate covered cherry coleos, and to the left some more vinca cascades. The top shelf we have the zinnia State Farm mix on the far right. In the center, the rudbeckia, the cherry brandy rudbeckias, and they are very, very tiny right now. There are some weeds in there as well, but they are starting to grow. And then on the left we have the vinca cascade. So on the third shelf here, on the left, the geraniums, the red geraniums, you can see they're doing well. We have to the center and to the right the zinnia precocea. They're the small zinnia plants. They'll grow 12 to 14 inches. They're doing well. There's another tray of State Farm mix. There's the 2 dahlias that I just planted in the containers to try and propagate some plants from them. Set on a heat mat. Down the bottom here, the 2 new varieties of zinnias I picked up at that big orange hardware store. And to the left here are my pickle plants. These are pickle bushes for homemade pickles. And then next to the door, the top shelf here are the French marigold. These are Mr. Majestic, and these really grew. Marigolds are so easy to grow. I have so many here, I know I'll be giving them a lot away. And then on the middle shelf we have the marigold Inca 2s, and they also did well. And everything is just about ready to start planting out into some cells and putting outside. And I have some pop-up greenhouses that I set up on my deck for the last 2 or 3 weeks before everything gets planted in the garden. There's another tray of vinca cascade, and there's the cardinal climber. So there you have it. This is part 6 of the videos on starting flowers from seeds and how I do it. So I hope if you're not subscribed, you'll subscribe, and you can see the final outcome come May, June, and then July when everything's in full bloom. So I'll keep you posted on how everything's growing, and I hope you enjoyed this video again, and I'll see you in the next one.